What's up, y'all? What is up? How is everyone doing today, man? You already know how it go. It's your boy B back with another video. Now, guys, I am excited to be live this early. We are going to be talking about how we can make this money phone flipping, of course, like we do all the time. But what I want to do this time is I want to really talk about what's not talked about in a lot of videos. Because we all want to make money, we all want to make profit, we all want to grow, we all want to be able to have freedom, right? And phone flipping does allow you to have that, but it doesn't allow you to have that on a small scale, right? So you'll see a lot of videos. I can pull them up, I'm sure. Let me share my screen and make sure that you guys can see, right? You'll see a lot of videos that are telling you that you are able, which you are, to make money. Okay. Phone flipping. Now, when it comes to phone flipping, we are for some odd reason, persuaded that this is an easy income stream. Now, it is an income stream that you can easily make work for you, but it's not something. If you're sitting in a car like this, prime example, and you're driving around like this, you're not making 5 figures. You're not making 6 figures. You're going to need to be in more places, and you're going to need also to have a wider audience. Now, how do we make that happen, right? We can't from the rip just start to think about scaling. I get calls all the time about how do I scale my business? How do I quit my job? How do I make sure I don't have a job? I really want to do this phone flipping thing. Maybe it's something you love, right? So let me give you, just in the beginning, as we start, right? I'm gonna give you guys sort of kind of the gauge on where you want to be, right? So let's say we sell cellular. That's what I always bring up, because this company right here is the company I started out with. They started taxing me for phones. I'll never forget it. They were taxing me for phones. But one thing I will say about them is that they were a company that was the easiest for me to get into personally. Okay, so I'm going to log in real quick. Give me 1 second, because I don't. Boom. All right, cool. All right. So I'm logged in. This should be your biggest, well, not your biggest goal, but something you want to accomplish. You want to be able to create a company that is going to be able to be buying phones on a large scale and reselling them. That if you're somebody that wants to grow your phone flipping business, that's what you should be wanting to do. You should be wanting to build a business that is a refurbisher or a buyback company, and you send the phones to overseas buyers. But you shouldn't just be thinking about, I just want to buy phones, right? If you're thinking in that manner, you're not thinking about scaling, and that's the reason why you're not able to quit your job yet. Because see, when you start thinking about, hey, what is the long-term goal, you start to understand, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to put myself in this position. I need to make sure I register my business. As you guys see, I have my business tabs right here. Both of these tabs right here are how I register businesses, and I register a lot of businesses. I was talking to a millionaire, and I'm not joking. I'm not trying to be funny or just trying to use this for content. I was talking to a millionaire on Tuesday. He's a millionaire. And he said a few funny things in this conversation. We were talking via video call. He said, dummies drive Ferraris. And I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, okay. And he was just like, yeah, like Ferraris, they're small cars, they're compact, they look cool, but they don't do nothing. He said, I would rather invest my money into some type of product, some type of inventory, some type of asset. And the other thing that he said was really, really good was, I created, and I lied to you, not just what he said, I created over 100 LLCs and only 2 worked. I'm gonna repeat it. He said, I created over 100 LLCs and only 2 worked. So why am I saying that? I'm saying that because to the person watching this now, watching it later, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. But I want you to understand that as long as you keep putting the shots up, right? As long as you keep putting the shots up, you're going to continue to grow, continue to learn. And this is a good learning experience. For those that are looking to start dibbling and dabbling in the electronic space, especially the phone space, you have to be able to know what your long-term goal is. Do you want to be a refurbishing company? You want to be an insurance company? Do you want to be a company that is a refurbishing and then selling to store company? Like, what is your main goal? And a lot of us, we don't have that. So just starting out, and if you're trying to be able to quit your job in 30 days, which it can be done, it's very hard, very rare. You need a lot of people around you that are going to steer you right. And you have to also have a crazy ass work ethic and capital. But if you're looking to start making money, I want you to first start by knowing and writing down, even if you're writing it down on like a paper like this, know exactly, because I got sticky notes all over my office. Know exactly what your long goal or your long-term goal is. What is happening? What are we going towards? But let me do my intro. My name is Brandon Jones, and I specialize in helping you make an extra income. If you guys don't know, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Today, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of wide array of phone flipping tactics, from negotiations to how to source, to how to find, how to manage, everything. I'm going to try to cover everything in the phone flipping space that I know is used to continue to make you thrive and go. Okay. So now, when it comes to phone flipping, the first thing that I want to talk about is going to be honestly what you need to know, right? Phone flipping is not easy. It's not hard, but it's not easy. It's not something that you could just wake up and roll out of bed and just do, right? Because you have people on OfferUp, and this is the main platform I would start out with. And I always say this because OfferUp is something that is so undervalued for some weird reason. But even right now, like y'all literally just saw, I just got on here. Like, this is no cap. Like, I'm just getting on here, okay, and I already see iPhone 15 Pro brand new 800, right? And factory sealed brand new. Now, here's the problem. Here's what you need to know as well. These could very well be fake. They could be very well fake. And there's no way for me to honestly tell unless I get these devices in my hand and open them. Now, long story short, I ended up falling for this trap with iPhone 15 Pro Maxes. I came across an individual that had them, and I negotiated them down to a really good price. Picked the phones up. They were sealed. Usually, when you are buying phones, and I'm gonna pull up the buyer's price list in a second. Usually, when you're buying phones, you want to buy devices that are sealed because the sealed devices will get you more money. The difference in this scenario was, they were fake. Okay, but I didn't know that, and I sold it to a buyer, and the buyer, I think they shipped it to China, and when they shipped it to China, they were a bit upset when they opened it because it was not real. They were Android, and then they blamed it on me. And I can't blame them for blaming it on me because this world is crazy and people will try to scam you. And this brings me to my next point. Right here, as you guys see, right? I have the buyer's phone flipping price list, right? And I just want to first tell you guys, we have a sealed price, and then we have a non-sealed price. Okay. Now, when it comes to sealed usually is not activated in the eyes of the buyer. But if we're being real, they are all activated once they're scanned in. And once they are placed into inventory. But see, this is when it gets a bit sticky because that's not always true. If it's like an iPhone 13 or an iPhone 13 Pro or that type of model or a SIM card model, it doesn't necessarily have to be activated when it is scanned. Like an eSIM though, the eSIM is placed on your account, which would technically mean once they like scan the iPhone 15 or the 15 Pro Max or the 14 Pro or 14 Pro Max, usually they're activated even when they're sealed in the box. But buyers don't usually care. I have one of them. I ain't gonna lie. I have one of the most flexible buyers price lists around when it comes to deductions, because they don't really take too many deductions off. And if they do, then it's sort of kind of something that, is universal. Okay. Now, knowing this, you're going to need a buyer's price list. Now, maybe not one, maybe two, maybe three. If you're not dealing with a buyer's price list that has multiple buyers on it, like mine, prime example, mine has 25 in the country and 25 out of the country. And it's based on a bidding system. So as you see, an iPhone 15 Pro Max 256 natural right now is $920 unlocked. This is not going to be the price that a buyer will pay you. The buyer will not pay you this price. The buyer is going to start at this price. So if we were to look up, we're looking up an iPhone 15 Pro Max, right? We were looking up at an iPhone 15 Pro Max. We're going to see a whole bunch, right? And you're going to see some that are reasonable prices and some that aren't, right? Like this one right here. This is titanium. This is 15. Well, is it 15? 1,150. This right here is 900, but this is used. If we're looking for a new one, which I'm sure this is new, yeah. If we're looking for a new one, which that's what I'm trying to look for, a new one. Which you're not going to find a lot of new ones, and I'm going to tell you why too, because not a lot of people are able to get the new ones. Now you'll have something like this where somebody will show you a picture of phones in their hands. This is a wholesale seller. I mean, this is a wholesale seller's picture. Let me make that clear. I won't say this is a wholesale seller. I don't know this person from can to paint, but I would say it's a wholesale seller. This was 1 month ago. But as you guys see, this is a locked phone. These are locked phones. And look at the prices, right? I can tell a lot by the prices. And what I mean by that is $750. It shows me, okay, you're either a wholesale buyer or you're somebody scamming and these phones are fake. Why? Because see, an iPhone 15 Pro Max 256 right now in the market, I look at the price list and I see that it's worth $920. That doesn't necessarily mean that a wholesale seller is going to try to seek that amount. Usually they're going to try to look for an amount a little bit lower, but we still got to be reasonable and we still got to be respectful of the market, right? So you'll find, I'm just looking, you'll find a iPhone 15 Pro Max like this for $1,500 or for $940. You'll find another one for $750, but this is used. So if we were going to go use the price list, we got to go over to the used section, and then now it starts to make a little bit more sense. $760, right? So now it starts to make a little bit more sense. As you guys see, the market always ties back. It always comes back to the ceiling or to the floor, right? Before, if you would have looked at these phones, I would say 3 months ago, they're at 1,500. They're almost at 2,000. Like these people are just making weird behind prices. The reason why the phone market is starting to just get regular and become just neutral is because there's about to be a new phone. So this is the perfect time for you to learn how to start flipping phones now, because see, what happens is when a new phone comes out, that's when all of the old phones, they start to lose a little bit of value. So all of the phone flipping buyers are going to start to attack people to start buying up phones, and all of the wholesale sellers. Now, let me define what a wholesale seller is. A wholesale seller is somebody that gets phones on an everyday basis and looks to just sell them. They're not phone flippers like us. They think they're phone flippers, but they're really not, because they're not going off of market value. They're only going off of buyer value. I'm going to say it again. Wholesale sellers do not go off of market value. They go off of phone value. So the people that you may see on YouTube that's like, oh my God, this is how you find the value of a phone. You go to ebay.com and then you look up iPhone 15 Pro Max 256. And then you can go all the way down to sold. Oops. What did I just do? Okay. And then you can automatically see exactly what you should be pricing or buying phones at. This is not true. This is a pre-owned Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max for US Cellular. But why would I gauge my price off of this when US Cellular isn't even near me? It's not on the East Coast. Okay. Then what the heck? Okay. Then we got an iPhone 15 Pro Max 256 Black AT&T. Check IMEI. 4 parts. $600. But I can't base my price off of this because mine isn't. I'm not like a parts specialist or trying to buy this for parts. I've obviously blacklisted probably. So there's so many different situations and reasonings for prices. And that's why you want to, when you're first starting out, you want to get a price list that is going to tell you the market value, not going to tell you how much it's worth to him and him and him and her and her and him. That's not important. It's not important. I'm going to say it again for all of my people in the back, for everybody that's just starting out or trying to start phone flipping. You need to find the market value, not the consumer value. They're two different things. Okay. Now, that is why we would use a price list. We see that an iPhone 15 Pro Max right now is worth $760 on the market. That means that 25 buyers in the United States of America and 25 buyers in Honduras, Egypt, because I want to Australia. We have a bunch. Australia, Europe, DR. I'm going to the DR soon to see him again. But all of these buyers, they compose their prices, and we got the median price. Okay, this is the median price. So how does it work? It works like this. You see 760, you go, you find a phone, period. You want to find a phone. So we're going to just take away shipping because we don't want to do shipping. We want to meet you right now. I want to give you the money in your hand. We never want to trust someone with our money, and we never want to give somebody something before we get. We don't want to do that, especially with phone flipping, right? So now that I am sort of kind of gauging the market in my area, I can see something for $750. I see iPhone 15 Pro Max titanium blue, $750. Now, this is going to be the perfect time because a lot of people are trying to sell these devices to get ready. They're trying to get ready to get a new phone or get ready to clear out their inventory so they can buy the 16 and maybe resell that too. Now, iPhone 15 Pro Max titanium blue, like new, no cracks, no scratches, T-Mobile locked, 256. And then he starts talking all this other stuff. Now, I see it's T-Mobile locked, 256, right? So it's locked. So now I got to go to the price list and I got to go to the locked price. So I see $540 is the market value. Again, when you are phone flipping, you want to focus on the market value. You do not want to focus on the consumer value. Consumer value is going to dictate what a consumer values it to be worth, but not what the market values it to be worth. So if I have let's say I have a Xbox controller, right? So this Xbox controller is great. I have 3 of these. 2 of them got damaged, right? I think my son wanted to play Fortnite, right? So my son wanted to play Fortnite, but one of the controllers wasn't working. So I said, dang, okay, he got upset. So I'm like, okay, he's getting upset. Now it's becoming more valuable to me for me to actually buy one. I go online, I look, I see the price. It's a lot. It's like $200 and some dollars. I'm like, bet. I'm really not trying to pay that, but at this point in time, I'd rather play with my son. So I'm like, all right, I'll kick it out, right? But then I'm like, well, it's even more valuable to me now because I would have to wait. It wasn't able to be shipped prime. So I said, you know what? I have to go to GameStop. So I went to GameStop and I paid even more money than I would have with Amazon just because the value started to increase as the demand. And the demand was my son, right? And it's the same thing with phones. So if you go based upon a consumer's value, you're cutting yourself short because this is what they deem it to be value. Okay, they deem it to be valued at $670 because maybe this person needs a Verizon iPhone 15 Pro Max 256, right? But then you don't know necessarily if that's going to be your target market, or if the person or the consumer that you're trying to sell it to, or whatever your long game is. Remember, you have to have a long game. What are you trying to do as a phone flipper? Are you trying to start a refurbishing company? Are you trying to start a cell phone store? Are you trying to build so that you can have phones that you can sell to businesses? Like, what are you trying to do in the long run? Because this really matters. Now, boom, you see that it's 540. Now let me explain to you why you want to do market value, right? Why is my price list based upon market value and not any type of value of what the buyer sees? Because the buyer is going to offer you higher than this, right? The buyer, you say, okay, I want to sell you on this page right here on information. There's the information on how to email us to let us know what device you're selling, right? You are going to email us, hey, I got an iPhone 15 Pro Max locked. It is with T-Mobile. We then send it to all 50 buyers. They then start sending their prices. Okay, I'll pay X amount. I'll pay X amount. We just choose the highest amount, send you exactly what the buyer said they will pay, and then you say yay or nay, right? That's how that works. Why do we start off low? Because of this. So let me show you why. So the market value is 540. All right, bet. So I know I'll go up to this person. I'll say, hey, I'm not going to ask them, right? I'm not going to say, hey, can you do? I'm very intentional with my approach. I can do, right? That's it. Then I'm going to go over to the calculator. Okay. And I'm going to show you why we deal with market value instead of dealing with consumer value. And I'm going to show you this is the difference between somebody that's actually really phone flipping in real life and somebody that's phone flipping on YouTube. Because if I take a phone and I don't get the maximum amount of profit, I can't pay my people. If I get a phone and I don't get the maximum amount of profit, I don't get to eat. Because see, it's not that simple. People have bills to pay and people have lives to live, right? Vacations to go on. Like it's way bigger. Profit is way more important, right? So $540 the market value, but I want to make, let's just say, a $50 profit. Okay. So that's $490. That is my ceiling. What does the ceiling mean? The ceiling means I can't go above it, right? That's what that means. I can't go above that price. I will not allow myself mentally to go above that price. I walk away from a deal if it's $500, right? Some may say, okay, Brandon, that's too low. Mine will be 90. Okay, 450. Or some say that might be too low, Brandon. Mine will be 100. Now, this is where common sense goes into play. Do you think somebody's going to sell you a phone for 400? Well, sell you an iPhone 15 Pro Max 256 for $440? No, absolutely not. Why? That's why you have to understand you don't want to buy higher tier phones. Starting out, I'm saying. Because the higher the tier, the less profit you make. That's why when a 16 comes out, I ain't touching it. I'm not going to touch it. I can buy it. I might buy it for myself, but I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it because it's not going to give me any better profit margin, or it's not going to do anything for me. I might buy it so I can put it in the thumbnail for a video, but that's it. I'm not buying it to actually reap benefits because there's no difference. And we're going to get into that. I just want to stay on pricing and how you really truly can make money, right? So we have 540 is the market value. That doesn't mean that's what the buyer is going to offer you. That just means that's the value, the evaluation of what that phone is worth in the market currently. Okay. Minus that by the 50 that we want to make profit. We have 490. That is our ceiling. Now, when I go into negotiations, and if we start talking about the art of negotiations, we have to start to understand that negotiating terms can really get hectic when it comes to how greedy or fair we are. Okay, we're either going to be greedy or we're going to be fair, right? I can literally just say 490, but that wouldn't leave me any type of wiggle room to be able to negotiate, right? So I can say, okay, off this 490, I'll take 50 more off. Or I can say off this 490, I'll take 30 off, or I'll take 20 off. Now, why are you taking it off? Because I can say I can do 460. And I hope this person responds. I can do 460 right now. Somebody just left me a voice message. Who is that? Somebody? Let's see. No. All right. So I can do $460 right now. You still have the box, right? Now I'm gonna say that, and let me just break down what my tactic is for my approach, right? You can do this on Facebook Marketplace, you can do it on OfferUp. I don't deal with Facebook Marketplace as a beginner because Facebook Marketplace is going to have older people. OfferUp is going to have hustlers. It's a difference. Hustlers don't really sell on Facebook Marketplace. Let me just explain to you why. Because there's so many bots. It's so much extra BS you have to deal with Facebook. When on OfferUp, all you got to do, literally, you can be in the car after getting the phone from off of somebody else's account, and they just like, and then they list it, and then they go about their day. And when somebody offer, it just goes to their phone. Facebook, it's more so you got to put in the details. You got to make sure your listing is still up. Now, don't get me wrong. More professional people are on Facebook, but you're going to get the hustlers that are going to be an OfferUp. That's just what it is. You're going to get the hustlers. And that's how I know, especially when I'm watching YouTube, because I watch phone flipping videos sometimes. I know when people are really about this life, when I see what platforms they're promoting for people to go and attack people on. Because you can't attack anybody really on Facebook. Because see, just like you're attacking somebody on Facebook, you're attacking people on Facebook in a manner that they're probably already presented like 18 other times, right? Because you got people, shout out to you, Dom, what's up? You got people that are putting these free I buy phone ads up all the time. All the time. You got people that are using the bots, people that are using these apps. It's so saturated on Facebook Marketplace. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people on OfferUp. But just starting out, I would definitely use OfferUp because I can know who's in my area. I can know that it's just like a mom and pops app to me. It's like I know it's more simple. Okay, it's more simple. So hey, I can do 460 right now. That is my first hook. My first hook is letting you know the price that I can do. Whether it turns you off or turns you on, I don't care. That's what price is fair to me. Okay, starting out in business, you have to understand the most important thing is making sure your ass is covered. I'm going to say it again. Starting out in business with anything, make sure your ass is covered. If you are just trying to do business off of price and you're just trying to make sure that you please other people with price, you're going to end up broke. No, you have to make it fair, right? So 460 right now. I say right now because this is going to be something that is mentally, it stimulates people mentally sometimes, not everybody. But because this person could be at work and they're like, damn, right now, free, right? But that's still a stimulation. It creates sense of urgency. And this goes into the 4 factors of impulse. So I'm a real salesman, right? I'm somebody that really has had to sell myself. Okay, pause. Nothing like that. But you know what I mean? I had to sell myself. Okay. And I understand that the way I approach someone, whether it's through text, email, or in person, it's very important because I can then mentally stimulate them in a negative or a positive way. And last but not least, and I say you still have the box, right? So I say you still have the box because I need to have some type of, well, it could be higher. I got to have some type of indifference, right? I can't come off as just a salesman straight to the point because then that becomes a bit aggressive. And somebody that doesn't communicate in that way won't resonate and won't come back in a sane mindset. They might just say F no or whatever, or you stink or whatever, right? So it's more so like, okay, you still have a box, right? Right is the insinuation saying, hey, listen, I assume you have the box, right? So like, if I was to look at you right now and say, hey, you made sure that you had that thing, right? And then you might be like, what thing are you talking about? That thing, like the thing that you told me about. Remember? You told me you had that thing, right? it sort of kind of makes you start to think. All right, so we're gonna send that. We have Samuel. What's up, Samuel? Shout out to you. What if you are buying and selling game consoles? How would you determine the value? So if you're selling and buying game consoles, right? Let's look it up. Okay. We'll divert for a second. Game consoles. Give me. I guess you mean like a PS4 or I mean PS5. Excuse me, because I don't sell game consoles, but they are really really profitable. Really really profitable. All right. So if well wait we have that on here. I'm tripping. So we have all right, I get what you're saying, but we should be able to find that even on a price list. Let me see. Okay, so the PS5. All right, so I see different values right here, and I also have another price list for that type of thing. Let me actually see, because this is really interesting. But I'm acting like I don't have a price list, but I just want to see something real quick, because you just gave me an idea, Samuel. Shout out to you, my guy. All right, so for game systems, right? So a PS5 disc version right now is sealed worth market value 350, PS5 digital 300, PS5 slim 1 terabyte 180, Xbox X 1 terabyte 300, Xbox One S 150. That's market value, right? So if I know that that's the market value, let's just hypothetically say that I don't have a price list, right? All right, cool. Look at this. I just read you what the PS. I don't even know what the PS5 Slim is, but I guess that's some. When did that come out? Because I don't know. I got a PS5, but I just leave it at that. Is that like a newer device or something? Like, because it ain't worth much. You make sure I ain't tripping. Because the market value for the PS Slim, PS5, yeah, Slim 1 terabyte, is not higher than the regular PS5. I wonder why. Yep. So all right, is this PS5 Slim? Okay, I don't think a lot of people want it. As you may have guessed, the PS5 is smaller and lighter. It's still a big system, but much easier to store. What's like the downside? Upgrading. When it comes to components, the PS5, then I go with the consoles use the same. Both it shouldn't be much of a performance across do exactly the same. Okay, so it's exactly the same. Perfect. So what I would do, right, if I see that it's exactly the same, and let's just hypothetically say I don't know the pricing, right? I don't know the value of it. What I would do is I would say, okay, I got OfferUp. Then I got, let's just say, MERCARI. I already got eBay, so we're gonna say what, PS5 Slim. Hold on. Digital PS5 Slim. Okay. The one I was talking about was disc, but all right, digital. Okay. We're going to look it up on here too. All right. So now that I start to see, I'm going to hit sold here. Okay, we already got sold here. So now, as you see how I said the market value is 150, everybody? I want y'all to look at what the pricing is. I want y'all to look at how this pricing is right here. It's close. You got a lot of people selling it for 200. Everybody's selling it under 3 for the most part, right? You got some that's selling it for higher, of course. You always got to be that extra one, but this is the majority. I see 200 under 3, right? Okay, so I'll take that, Samuel. That's what I do. I'll just know, okay, I see a lot under 300. Cool. Then I'll go over here and I'm looking. Because see, the reason I'm looking on these platforms is not to copy. I'm looking off these platforms because I want to be able to see what platform will I be able to sell this on for what price. This is what pawn shops do, right? When you're reselling consoles and things of that nature, not flipping phones. See, reselling and flipping, two different things. Two different things, because flipping means that I'm flipping it for a small gain, but I'm flipping it with the intention to already have some type of sale. Like I'm flipping it because I know I got the sale. Reselling is more so like I am buying this in hopes to make something else on the end, but I don't already have that sale. So I just need to know what platform that I'm going to sell it on, right? So I see here, we talking about under 350, right? I see it's under 350 here. Mostly. I mean, we got we got 280. Okay. So we have 285, 270, 280. We got 300, 230. So I see that we still could. It looks like without the box, they're looking at the under 300 range under the box. Okay. I mean, without the box, excuse me. So now, if I know that this person doesn't have a box, I'm gonna say, hey, I can do. I was about to not show y'all. So what I would do, right? I would pull my calculator out, and this is what I do with business in general. I would say I see a lot of 226 and 85. Then I see I need another higher price. What's the highest price I see? 450. So plus 450 plus, let me go over here. No, over here. Plus 285. That's 3, right? So I got 3 prices from 3 different platforms, dividing it by 3. $320 is what I should be selling this at, right? So I know for a fact if I do buy this device, I'm going to list it for like 350. That puts me in the middle. That puts me in the middle of the pack. But I also know personally I wouldn't buy this without a box. So I can do $250. That's what I would say. I should say you got the box, right? Because I need the box. If he don't have a box, the price going down further. All right, so that's how I would work with the gaming console. So hopefully that answered, Samuel. I apologize if it didn't. I really hope that it did. Okay, I'm sorry if it didn't, but I'll actually make a video on that too, because that's a good question. I love when y'all give me them good questions. All right, so back to the phones, right? So now, as somebody flipping phones and as somebody that is starting out, and we just talked about how to make an offer, right? How you want to make an offer using a price list. Now, let's say you want to get this price list. You go to hustlertaughtme.com, right? And all you got to do is just go to the phone flipping and then go to price list, and then you get the price list. Now, getting this price list, it costs one fee. It does cost a fee. Now, if you're somebody just starting out, you can go ahead and get free price lists, but they're not going to be market value. That's sort of kind of where you're in a disadvantage. A lot of people like to use other platforms. Platforms and other product lists. And one thing I would say is just be careful about the list that you're getting, because some lists are only gauged towards, hey, this is what the market is selling to phones in Philadelphia. Or I know one of the biggest platforms that people use to gauge the price for phones, they're based out of New York City. I met the owner of this price list because this person and me were doing business for a long time. And they asked me for some insight on shipping and how we can make that more effective. Because I don't usually just stick to, what I do, right? I usually outsource. Like I like to network, I like to learn. So this price list was Atlas, and they were a company that I started out using until I realized that their pricing was based on buybacks. And when I started to realize that was when I was on Craigslist, which nobody gets on Craigslist anymore, but I was on Craigslist, and I was looking for buyers, couldn't find any real ones. And then he actually is in this chat. Tall guy Dom actually hit me up and he said, hey, I got a person that I know is buying phones. I want to meet him at a 7-Eleven. This 7-Eleven changed my life. The 7-Eleven changed my life because then I met another buyer, and this was a wholesale buyer. And this wholesale buyer was someone that brought phones in the intentions to resell overseas. That's when I started to see what the real money was. But the issue with this guy was he was only giving me one price. So I would have like an iPhone, let's just say an iPhone 13 Pro Max. Back then they were hot, right? So I had an iPhone 13 Pro Max, excuse me, and he would offer me 900 every time, 900, 900, 900. But then I started to think to myself, well, is it really just 900 every time? Did the market not go up? Did it not go down? So then I started to see, because it started costing me more money to get these phones. So when it started costing me more money, I started asking him like, hey, could you pay me a little bit more? I said, no. And I said, well, okay, got you. So I went back and I'm like, hey, I can't buy it for X amount, but I'll buy it for X amount. And then the person's like, well, it's not worth this, that, and the third. And I'm like, ugh. So I started to realize that pricing wasn't adding up on both sides. So it wasn't adding up on the person that was selling me the phone side, and it wasn't adding up on the buyers, right? So then I started to think to myself, well, somebody's wrong. So then what happened was, I'm such a cool person. I'm such an asset. That this buyer ended up saying, hey, I want to partner with the store. So I already had stores. This buyer wanted to make a store in Philly. They ended up getting this store in Philadelphia and turn it into a virtual reality lounge, like where you had those headsets and stuff. So he was like, yeah, I need your help. Da, da, da. So I'm like, cool, cool, cool. I thought to myself, this is the perfect time for me to get close to him. So I got close. And then he started sharing to me the price list that he actually was using. And then when I started to see the price list he was using, I was like, yo, you've been giving me 900, but you've been getting $1,040 each time. And don't get me wrong, business is business. So I understood, but it was something about it that made me feel like I was being pushed down, like I was being because remember, I came to him, I was like, hey, like it cost me a bit more to get this joint. So like, can you look out for the cookout, look out for your boy, right? And he didn't want to. So from there, I said, okay. So I remembered the person that he was selling the phones to, and I contacted them. Now I didn't contact them to go and steal any business from this phone flipper I was working with before. But I contacted him because I was like, hey, my name is X, my name is Brandon, and I sell phones. I wanted to know, how could I start selling phones directly to you? And then he broke it down. And I said, okay, cool. It was certain requirements I had to meet, and I met them. So I was like, all right, cool. So then after that, that's when I developed the connection with that buyer, stopped using the other buyer. And then I said, I've never put myself in that situation again. Because see, how you going to grow and scale as a phone flipper when you don't got options? How you going to grow and succeed as a phone flipper when you cannot, like you have a ceiling? You cannot reach a certain plateau when somebody's trying to keep you down. See, that's what this channel is all about. This channel is all about that. This channel is all about understanding how not to be suppressed when you have the tools and the brain and the hustle to make sure that you exceed expectations and don't allow people to bring you down. That's what this channel is about. This channel is not really about phone flipping or reselling. This channel is about you understanding that ain't nobody in this motherfucking world able to hold you back. That's what this channel is about. This channel is about understanding that, hey, if you do have that 9-to-5 job and you love your job, that's great. But what happens when you start to feel unappreciated? What happens when Susie gets that promotion over you? What happens when Scott stops realizing the hard work that you're putting in? What happens when you start to realize that this job is not fulfilling the obligations that you have? Or what happens when you start to feel like I can't improve my family's life with this job? What happens? You still continue to get paid the same amount, right? What happens when the CEO of your company comes into the store with the new kicks that cost $5,000 and you're barely seeing $5,000 in 6 months? What happens? You start realizing how you have diminished your value for comfortability. And I was thinking that today when I was looking at myself in the mirror. I was thinking to myself, it's so interesting how we would rather sell our value for comfort, honestly, right? Like we rather wake up in a nice bed and be able to walk the dog and be able to take care of our necessities, or no, our responsibility, excuse me, and be okay with that, and sometimes go out here and there and do this and do that. But see, we don't want to waste the time. We don't want to waste our fun time, right? We don't want to sit there and try to look for phones and start a business. We don't want to do that. We don't want to pay that $125 it costs to register a business. We don't want to do that because we don't see benefit in it. We think that it's just a waste of our time, or it's just too hard. It's not too hard. You're just too lazy. It's not too hard. You're just too fucking lazy. That's really all it is. Because see, having a job is awesome. It gives you discipline. It gives you a structure. It gives you a blueprint on how this person did it. But if this person created a company, why can't I create one? If this person built this from the ground up, because I always love talking to CEOs. They're like, yeah, I built this up from the ground up. You know, I have this hustle. I have this. I have that. And a lot of people don't know how to multitask. A lot of people don't know how to do this, that, and the third. Shut the fuck up. No, a lot of people know how to do it, but a lot of people don't want to. A lot of people don't know how to do it because they haven't seeked out the information. A lot of people don't know how to do it because they're too busy trying to survive. One of the most dangerous things an employee can do is wake up every day in survival mode. Okay. When you wake up in survival mode, which a lot of you guys watching this understand what I'm saying when I say survival mode, how many people are just living to survive? Right? Because instead of building that raft to get off that island, I'd rather just sit here on the island and wait for a raft to come to me. But there's no guarantee it's going to come to me. But at least I don't have to spend my time building a raft and then getting into the middle of the ocean and then it's sinking and me having to swim back. I just made that up. I'm cooking. That was a nice one. That was a nice one. I ain't gonna care. That was a nice one. But most people are too busy just being comfortable. So when it comes to this phone flipping and you wanting to start building and hopefully being able to, I wouldn't even say quit, but being able to lessen your 9 to 5 lifestyle, you have to understand that it comes to a point to where you have to get tired. You got to get tired. And some of you guys are not tired. But you got to get so tired that you start to understand that if you don't do something right now, you're not going to be able to do anything later. If you don't do anything right now, you won't be able to do anything later, because see, you can't sit there and talk about, oh, I'm going to do it. I got this idea. I'm going to make this happen. I want to build this and I want to build that. As the days go on, somebody else is doing that shit. One more spot is taken up and taken away from you. So to everybody that is looking to, even if you're looking to build, like Samuel right here, right? Samuel said, hey, how do you find the price when you're reselling consoles? Samuel, what is your long-term goal? What is the end goal with that, Samuel? Are you trying to create a gaming store or a refurbishing console store? And when I say store, it doesn't have to be brick and mortar. It could be online. Like, what is the main goal in this? Because it's way bigger than just flipping. If you want to be a phone flipper, I'm about to break down to you exactly how you do it in scale. And it's completely easy and simple. If you want to be a phone flipper and scale your business to make it live, make it help you live, okay? This is what you do. You start out flipping phones by yourself. Okay, just by yourself, only you. You start to understand what platforms work for you and what platforms don't. You then start to understand the art of negotiation because you have failed in so many. And once you've been told no so many times, you start to understand the you start to understand, because I'm very careful with my words. You start to understand the power in rejection, because rejection doesn't necessarily mean a negative. It can also mean you're just not good enough, or you're not doing or speaking or articulating or conveying the message good enough, right? So you start to understand that when you get rejected, you start to learn different behaviors. You start to understand how to network, right? Because see, if I'm phone flipping, I want to have about 20 contacts in my phone of wholesale sellers that are literally selling phones to me every single week. Each wholesale seller you can make around $2,000 off of every single week because they live off of this. Let me give y'all real fucking game. The way that you start phone flipping is by understanding that you have to get people under you that want it just as bad as you. So what I mean by this, right, is if I'm going to start scaling my phone flipping business, I first need to become an expert. When I'm an expert, I need to start trying to get other people that are experts at getting phones. Because you're not an expert at getting phones, you're an expert at selling them, right? See, a lot of people on YouTube, a lot of people on Instagram, I see these reels. Hey guys, today I flipped 2 iPhone 15s and I flipped them for $900 profit. Cap, lie, fact, fact, lie. You're fucking lying. You have to keep the main thing the main thing. And sometimes the main thing is not that you're good at buying phones. I'm not good at buying phones. I'm good at flipping them. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm good at it, but like that don't count because I've been doing it for a long ass time. But the way you scale the business is by you becoming good at flipping phones, not good at buying them or getting them, excuse me, not good at getting them. So what happens is you're a phone flipper. You started to excel and understand, okay, this is how I can flip them. I know how to negotiate. Now you need to find a wholesale seller. And wholesale sellers are good at getting phones. Now, how do they get the phones? I've already covered that in videos. I know how they get their phones because I've sat down, had drinks with people that get phones. Because when you start getting to a certain level, you start to say, okay, this person is paying my light bill. This person is paying my rent. This person is paying for back to school supplies. You know what I mean? You start to be like, all right, I gotta actually talk to this person, tap in, like, because this person is paying my bills, right? So you say, okay, they're experts at getting phones. They either using other people's accounts, they're getting phones from stores, they're doing whatever they got to do to get the phones. They're getting the phones, they're experts at it. They don't want a job just like you and me don't want one. So what they do is they go and whatever they do to get the phones, they go and get the phones. But when you go get those phones, I want you to remember me. And I want you to call my phone up and I want you to say, hey, I have X, 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 X. And then I'm going to, since I'm the expert at flipping phones, going to respond to you and say, okay, I will buy it for this price, that price, this price, that price, this price, that price. End of discussion. Then where we meet. Oh, we have a designated meeting spot that we meet every single time. Cool. That's the second phase. The second phase is saying, okay, I know how to get phones. Doesn't mean I'm great at it. I know how to get them, and I already have become great at flipping them. I have a price list. I have wholesale buyers. I have all of that. Cool. Now I got wholesale sellers under me. Now the wholesale sellers under you, they're going to be just funneling, bringing phones. And I'll give you a smooth example right now. Okay, right here on Offer Up, I was able to. In one of the other lives, I was able to. See, yeah, they delete their profiles after a while too. Yeah, he deleted his profile. But I was able to find a wholesale seller, right? And a wholesale seller, I got an iPhone 15 from, and I made $60 profit. Okay, so if he gives me phones 5 times a week, okay, that's 300. Okay, 300 from that one person every single week, right? But if I have five, because the key is to work in five. So if I have five wholesale sellers under me in my area, okay, that are giving me phones, they're giving me 5 phones each every week, right? That means 300 times that five, right? That means I'm getting 1,500 every single week dealing with five wholesale resellers or wholesale sellers, right? Now, that 15 that I'm working with from those five people every single week, right? For a month, I'm getting $6,000. For a year, I'm getting 72. That's like how simple it is. Making $60 from each wholesale seller every single 5 days, or at least 5 days throughout the week. You'll be able to make $72,000. That's more than some teachers. That's more than some bus drivers. That's more than some workers just in general. Okay. But you'll still have time to go ahead and work. You want to know why? Because you're not out in the field. The wholesale sellers are. Too many people, and I'm talking to my mentees too. If y'all watch, I'm talking to my mentees too. Too many people are too busy trying to find people to flip phones with and for them instead of trying to find people that are already good at it. That's how you scale your phone flipping business, period. That's what they do not tell you. You want to know why people don't tell you that? Because they don't know. That's why. Because they don't know. They don't understand what it takes. They weren't at bus station selling phones. They weren't outside selling phones, talking to people while people walking away. They weren't doing phone deals at KFC in a sweaty, nasty, greasy ass bathroom because you don't want everybody to see the bread that the person pulling out. They wasn't doing that. That's how you scale your phone flipping business, guys. Like I just gave y'all a whole gym. You heard me? Now, speaking of that, before we wrap, I want to show you guys how to get everything that I talked about today. So, of course, we have the weekly live classes where every Monday, just how we're talking right now, this is what I do at 7 p.m. every single Monday with our phone flipping classes. Okay, all you got to do is register. All right, so you go to hustlertoldme.com, hit classroom, weekly classes, and register. Once you register, you're going to be given a link, and we're going to be actually talking face to face on Google Meet, me and you, and whoever is there. If it's just me and you get me, and we just working hand in hand on your situation. If it's more people, I tend to have Q&As. I also tend to have a presentation ready for us to go over different things every single week, a different thing. This is sort of kind of like having classes, right? Like a college class, sort of kind of like every single week is something new, and we always follow up with each other. I check in, I make sure that I help you. My goal is for you to be able to be literally doing what I just said. Okay. You need to find a structure and stick to it. All right. Next, we have the Phone Flipping Academy. Okay. The Phone Flipping Academy. This is something where, again, you're not just hearing me talk. We do also include a call in this as well. All right. It's not mandatory. You don't have to take the call, because I have some people that's like, oh, I don't want to take the call. I just want to get to work. That's cool. Do your thing. All right. And of course, we got the Hustler membership. Now, this right here is $100 a month. You get everything that I put out, the classes, and you can book calls for free. Okay. You can book as many calls as you want for free. And this is everything that I have for you guys that want to start building when it comes to phone flipping or even product resale. Okay. So free weekly classes, unlimited course access, free book calls, expert-led classes, obviously comprehension learning. So we're basically working with you on your learning style. Everybody doesn't work well with talking. Everybody doesn't work well with just visuals. So it all depends, right? Flexible. So I know people got to work. Listen, I do this every single day, 24/7. Okay. This is my life. Okay. Like this isn't work for me. I'm a hustler. I breathe it. I live it. I want this as bad as I want to breathe. And there's no, like, I'm not saying that off of any, because people be like, oh my God, you heard that from such and such. No, I didn't hear that from nobody. I heard that from me. I heard that from me. That ain't hard to come up with. Because then you start to really think like, oh, snap, like I do want to breathe now. Listen, that's how I want it. So I work around clock. You heard me? Personalized support as well. So you will always be able to book the calls to get support. And then community, of course, the Discord private server. Okay. So that's everything that we are giving. And that's everything that I have, guys. So I appreciate you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, man, do not hesitate to join that Discord. The link is below, of course. I appreciate you guys so much. Again, we're going to keep going, keep moving and grooving. I appreciate all of the love, all the support, all the questions, everything. Please make sure you go. Oh, hold on. Hold up. Make sure that y'all subscribe to The Hustler Taught Me. All right. If you're an educated hustler, that is my channel as well. But this one I'm building up as well. So make sure you guys go subscribe. Here I put out a lot of different videos on here. Educated Hustle, I put videos out on too, but not as much as I do on Hustler Talk. All right, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys. Oh, hold on. Hey, bro, it's me from yesterday's live. So to book call with you, I need to pay. No. I need to pay 100 first. Absolutely not. No. You can just book you can book a call. I don't know how much it is now. Because I don't set the price. So it's $79. It's $79 to book a call just in general for an hour. But if you pay $100, you can book. So good question. So if you pay $100 one time, you can book more calls. You don't have to just book one call. You, instead of paying $79, you can pay $100 and book calls for the rest of 30 days. That's sort of kind of like the benefit. Because again, you got some people that want to talk on a weekly basis, on a day-to-day basis. You have people that want to talk. So that's what the $100 is. So if you paid the $100, that gets you unlimited book calls, vice versa. If you just want to do one call, that's $79. So hopefully that answers your question. And thank you for coming back, bro. I appreciate you. I really do. But yeah, y'all, I'm gonna get off because I actually have another video I gotta finish. So I can get it out to you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I love y'all. I see you guys at the top because it's too crowded at the bottom. Peace.